Some mornings, he couldn't even tie his shoes, not because he forgot how, but because his back wouldn't bend. He was 67, a retired engineer, sharp mind, loving grandfather. But each day started the same. Legs that felt like cement, a back that groaned with every movement, and a body that seemed to whisper, "You're not young anymore." But what if that stiffness wasn't age? What if it was a warning? Science is beginning to say what many older adults have long suspected, but never dared to hope. The pain, the stiffness, the heaviness. They aren't just the price of getting older. They're symptoms of something that can change, something you can influence. And more surprisingly, the way forward isn't loud or forceful. It's quiet, it's still, and it starts with the way you breathe when you stretch. In this video, we'll uncover a morning ritual, just 10 minutes a day, that's helping older men across the world regain not only their flexibility, but their energy, their balance, their calm, and something deeper, their trust in their body again. Let's begin. Waking up used to feel like returning to life. Now, for many men over 60, it feels like crawling out of rust. You wake up slowly, the mattress pressing into your lower back, your legs reluctant to move. There's a stiffness you didn't ask for, a kind of heaviness that wraps around your joints like invisible weights. It takes a while before you stand, and longer before you feel like you're actually awake. That was John's story. At 64, he thought he was just getting old. Every morning, his feet would hit the floor with hesitation. His knees didn't want to bend. His back screamed every time he reached for the sink. He stopped gardening, stopped playing with his grandkids, stopped going for walks. "I thought I was breaking down," he told his doctor. But what he learned changed everything, because what John experienced wasn't just aging. It was a silent crisis that affects millions of older men. And most don't even talk about it. You see, after 60, something subtle but significant happens. Our joints begin to produce less synovial fluid, the natural lubricant that keeps them gliding smoothly. Our muscles and tendons shorten from years of sitting, slouching, and not moving enough, and slowly our bodies start to forget how to move well. But here's the part no one tells you. Stiffness isn't a symptom of age. It's a symptom of neglected movement. And the tragedy is, so many men accept it as their fate. They stop stretching, stop challenging their body, and in doing so, they surrender small freedoms every day, until they wake up one morning and realize they can no longer reach their own back or balance while putting on a sock. But it doesn't have to be this way. John didn't need injections. He didn't need surgery. He just needed to listen to his body and give it what it was quietly asking for. Smart, intentional movement. And it started not with a gym membership, but with a stretch. Just one. Done slowly with breath. Every morning. In the next section, we'll uncover what's really behind that morning pain and why understanding the biology might be the key to reversing it. John used to think pain was inevitable, but what he didn't know, what most men don't know, is that the body isn't just aging. It's adapting to disuse. There's a difference. Pain is often a message, not a punishment. And stiffness in the morning? That's one of the body's most consistent, yet most misunderstood, messages. Let's look inside. As we age, the production of synovial fluid, the slippery liquid that lubricates your joints, naturally decreases. It's like oil in an engine. Less oil, more friction, more wear, more noise. But here's the part people miss. Your body wants to make more of it. It just needs the right signal. And that signal is movement. Not just any movement, but slow, controlled, intentional movement that compresses and decompresses the joints like a pump. That's what tells your body, hey, I'm still using this. Keep it running. Now combine that with another silent enemy, muscle and tendon shortening. After years, sometimes decades, of sitting, our bodies mold themselves to that shape. Hip flexors tighten, hamstrings contract, shoulder blades drift forward. Our body becomes a map of our habits. And the older we get, the more those habits solidify. And then there's posture, poor sleep position, collapsed walking patterns, standing with more weight on one leg. These micro imbalances build up tension like rust on a hinge. That's why mornings hurt more. Because after 6 to 8 hours of stillness, your body is trying to wake up a system that's been passively stiffening overnight. It's not broken. It's just dormant. And dormancy is reversible. Recent research from institutions like Kyoto University and the Journal of Aging Research shows that daily mobility routines not only restore joint lubrication and muscle elasticity, but reduce lower back pain by over 40% in older adults. Even better? These routines stimulate the vagus nerve, a powerful regulator of stress and inflammation. That means better sleep, improved digestion, and a stronger sense of calm, all from a few mindful movements. So no, it's not just age. It's biology responding to behavior, and behavior can change. In the next section, we'll explore a movement most people ignore, but that science now says is one of the most powerful ways to reawaken your flexibility, balance your nervous system, and gently restore trust in your own body. Let's begin with a stretch you may know, but never knew could heal this much. Most people think movement heals, but for older bodies, stillness, done right, can be even more powerful. This is the paradox of isometric stretching. You're not moving through space, but everything inside you is being activated. John discovered this after years of trying to push through the pain. He did long walks. He joined a senior aerobics class. He even tried lifting weights again. Each time he ended up sore, inflamed, frustrated. But then someone showed him something different. A stretch you hold, not chase. A posture you breathe through, not push past. That's what isometric stretching is. In these positions, the muscles engage gently without changing length. The joints remain stable. And yet, the internal systems, nervous, circulatory, lymphatic, wake up like spring after a long winter. It's like giving your body space to remember how to function. But this isn't just philosophy. It's physiology. When you hold an isometric position, you activate stabilizer muscles that often weaken with age, especially around the spine, hips, and knees. You stimulate proprioceptors, tiny sensors in your joints that tell your brain where your body is in space. That's your internal GPS, and it needs regular calibration to prevent falls. You create tension without trauma, a key factor for building strength in bones and soft tissue without overloading aging joints. Research published in the Journal of Gerontology confirms that just 8 to 10 minutes of isometric training per day leads to improvements in muscle tone, balance, and range of motion, comparable to lightweight training, but with far less strain. And there's more. When you combine isometric stretching with conscious breathing, you activate your vagus nerve, the body's calm command center. It lowers cortisol, slows heart rate, improves digestion. It turns stress off and restoration on. This is why isometric stretches feel so different. You're not just stretching a muscle. You're restoring a relationship with your body, with your breath, with your sense of groundedness. John felt it in just 1 week. He stopped reaching for the cabinet with a wince, stopped waking up stiff, stopped saying, "I'm too old for this," because age didn't change, but how he moved and how he held still did. Next, we'll begin exploring the 5 essential isometric stretches that help reverse stiffness, increase energy, and rebuild confidence in daily movement. The first one, it starts on your hands and knees, but lifts everything from your spine to your spirit. Let's begin with cat-cow. There's a reason every child learns to crawl before they walk. It's because the spine, your body's central axis, needs to move before the rest of you can. That's exactly what the cat-cow stretch restores. At first glance, it looks simple. On your hands and knees, arch your back, then round it. But inside, something profound is happening. With every gentle wave of the spine, from the base of the neck to the tailbone, you're rebooting a system that's been asleep. You're moving each vertebra, not forcefully, but intentionally. And as you do, you stimulate the flow of synovial fluid, rehydrating the discs that have spent the night compressed and motionless. Think of it like watering dry soil. Suddenly there's give, there's softness, there's space again. But it's not just the bones. This stretch gently activates deep postural muscles, the ones responsible for holding you upright, balanced, and pain-free. These muscles don't get much attention, but they're the reason you can sit tall, twist with ease, or get up from a chair without strain. And then there's the breath. Cat-cow works best when you pair each movement with a deep inhale and exhale. As you extend the spine, cow, you breathe in. As you round cat, you breathe out. That rhythm isn't random. It mirrors the natural ebb and flow of the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's rest and restore mode. With every breath, you're not just stretching your back. You're lowering cortisol, slowing your heart rate, and telling your brain, you're safe now. Research from Nature Neuroscience confirms that rhythmic spinal movement, paired with deep breathing, increases vagal tone, a marker of emotional resilience and physical recovery. And high vagal tone is strongly associated with longevity. For John, this was the stretch that changed his mornings. After just a week of slow, mindful cat-cow, he noticed something. His back didn't feel locked when he woke up. He could breathe deeper. His thoughts were clearer. He even slept better. Because cat-cow isn't just a movement. It's a message. It says, you're not stuck. You're still adaptable. And every breath is a chance to start again. In the next part, we'll move from the spine to the hips, with a stretch that unlocks not just tight joints, but the sensation of heaviness that many older adults silently carry. It's called the butterfly, and it may just change how you walk through the day. He described it as dragging sandbags around his hips. Not pain exactly, not weakness either, just heaviness. Every step felt effortful. Getting in and out of the car, a struggle. Climbing stairs, forget it. John thought he was just slowing down. But what he was really carrying wasn't age, it was tightness. Tight hips are one of the most underestimated causes of mobility loss in older adults. And yet, most people don't even realize how stiff their pelvis has become. Until one day, they can't cross their legs, squat to pick something up, or even sit comfortably on the floor. That's where the butterfly stretch comes in. Sitting with the soles of your feet together, knees falling outward, you gently encourage openness in the adductors, hip flexors, and the deep capsule of the pelvis. These are the gatekeepers of your body's mobility. When they're tight, everything above and below them suffers. But this stretch does more than improve flexibility. It redistributes tension across the lower body. When the hips are stiff, the lower back compensates. The knees work harder. The ankles lose range. It's a domino effect of dysfunction. By unlocking the hips, the entire chain of movement softens. Studies from clinical rehabilitation journals confirm that improving hip mobility directly reduces fall risk, improves walking stability, and even lightens the perceived effort of daily movement. Why? Because you're finally removing the brakes. There's another hidden benefit too. Blood flow. When you open the groin area, you stimulate circulation to the legs. That helps reduce swelling, fatigue, and that uncomfortable heaviness many older adults feel by late afternoon. It even eases pressure on veins, offering relief from varicose discomfort and improving vascular health. And then there's the emotional layer. The hips are home to our center of gravity, but also our emotional weight. Tension here often reflects years of holding back, stress, grief, fear of falling, fear of failing. When John started practicing the butterfly daily, he noticed something curious. He didn't just move better, He stood taller, walked lighter, felt more stable on uneven ground. He wasn't afraid of his body betraying him anymore, because for the first time in years, his hips weren't fighting him. They were supporting him. The butterfly stretch is gentle, but don't let that fool you. It's a powerful recalibration, a return to alignment, not just in posture, but in presence. Next, we'll rise from the floor and into strength, with a pose that builds balance, muscle, and confidence all at once. The warrior. There was a time when John felt strong. He built a career, raised a family, carried groceries up 3 flights of stairs without thinking. Strength wasn't something he trained for. It was just there. But over time, that quiet strength began to erode. Not all at once, but in pieces. First, he hesitated before stepping onto an icy sidewalk. Then he stopped carrying the heavy laundry basket. Then came the moment he reached for a jar on the top shelf and had to stop, afraid he'd lose balance. That was the moment he realized it wasn't strength he had lost. It was trust in his own body. The warrior stretch helped him earn it back. This isn't just a posture. It's a physical declaration. I'm here. I'm stable. I still carry strength. And it delivers on that promise, not through brute force, but through balance, breath, and intention. Biomechanically, warrior engages almost every major muscle group: quads, glutes, hamstrings, calves, core, and shoulder stabilizers. But what makes it powerful for older adults isn't the muscle. It's the message it sends to the nervous system. By holding the posture, even just for 20 seconds, the body begins to strengthen stabilizer muscles crucial for fall prevention, improve proprioception, your brain's ability to track body position in space, enhance bone density through gentle isometric load, a key factor in avoiding fractures. And then there's the mental side. To hold warrior, you have to focus. You have to breathe deeply, ground your feet, steady your eyes. In that moment, something incredible happens. The brain begins to rewire. Research in applied neuroscience shows that this kind of mindful movement enhances executive function, reduces anxiety, and builds confidence in physical autonomy. John said it best. It made me feel like I could handle life again. Even more, warrior undoes the physical postures of aging, the hunched shoulders, the downward gaze, the collapsed chest. By opening the torso, lifting the head, and rooting the feet, it invites a new story into the body. You're still strong. You're still capable. You're still grounded. And that story? It doesn't just affect how you move. It changes how you show up in your life. In the next section, we'll step into stillness again, with a pose that doesn't just stretch the spine, but resets the nervous system, calms the heart, and restores a deep, quiet energy. It's called child's pose, but its wisdom is anything but childlike. John used to believe rest was passive. That sitting still meant surrendering. That slowing down meant getting weaker. But what he discovered through 2 deceptively simple stretches, child's pose and cobra, was that rest can be active, and stillness can be a source of power. Let's start with child's pose. It looks like a bowing motion, knees wide, arms stretched forward, forehead resting on the floor. But inside, a quiet transformation is happening. As the spine folds gently over itself, pressure lifts from the intervertebral discs, allowing them to rehydrate after hours of compression. The lower back unwinds, the hips open softly, and the nervous system finally gets the message it's been longing for. You are safe. This position stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's recovery mode. Research in restorative yoga and neurophysiology confirms that this posture increases vagal tone, lowers blood pressure, and reduces stress hormones like cortisol. Many older adults describe child's pose as the first time in years they felt truly rested, not just physically, but emotionally. And then we rise. Enter the cobra. Where child's pose is surrender, cobra is emergence. You lie flat, palms under your shoulders, and gently lift your chest. It's not about forcing your back into a dramatic arch. It's about reclaiming extension in a body that's spent too long curled inward. Cobra opens the rib cage, improves lung capacity, and stretches the hip flexors, a group of muscles that tend to shrink from sitting and aging. It gently presses synovial fluid through the spinal column, nourishing discs and relieving tension in the lumbar region. But Cobra isn't just about biomechanics. It's about messaging. It tells your body, stand tall again. It tells your breath, expand. It tells your nervous system, reawaken. Research from exercise psychology journals shows that upright, open-chested postures increase levels of serotonin and endorphins, lifting mood and reducing symptoms of depression. When John began pairing child's pose and cobra each morning, something shifted. He started the day grounded and rose into it energized. His digestion improved. His breathing deepened. His thoughts cleared. And more than anything, he stopped bracing for pain. Instead, he began moving toward vitality. These two poses are like punctuation marks to a conversation with your body. One says, rest here. The other says, rise from here. And together, they prepare you not just to move, but to live. Now, as we approach the end of this journey, it's time to look at the bigger picture. Why these stretches are more than physical movements. They're daily rituals of resilience, self-respect, and conscious aging. Let's close with that. Some things are routines. Brush your teeth, take your meds, check your email. But some things become rituals, not because they're complicated, but because they're conscious. That's what John discovered. What started as a few stretches turned into something more. A moment each morning where he returned to himself. No phone, no noise, just breath, movement, and the quiet rebuilding of trust in his own body. That's what these stretches are. Not chores, not tasks, but invitations. Invitations to move with awareness, to age with intention, to begin the day not with resistance, but with rhythm. Science tells us that 10 minutes of mindful movement improves joint lubrication, lowers cortisol, boosts mood, and rewires the brain for balance. But experience tells us something deeper, that those 10 minutes can change how you carry your day. You walk taller, breathe deeper, react slower, smile more, worry less. You don't just feel flexible, you feel free. And maybe that's the greatest gift. Freedom. Not in a loud, dramatic way, but in the quiet ability to bend down without fear, to get out of bed without pain, to walk through your life without waiting for something to hurt. This isn't about doing yoga or being fit. It's about reclaiming the conversation with your body and answering it with care. So if you've made it this far, maybe today's the day. Roll out a mat or sit on the carpet. Take one breath, then another. Try cat-cow. Try butterfly. See how it feels. Start not with pressure, but with curiosity. Because your best years aren't behind you. They're right here, waiting for you to move toward them. Your body will meet you there.